Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lions Stadium for this second match in our Super Saturday. We, of course, just saw Peninsula Power with a 2-0 victory over Logan Lightning. And now it's time for the top of the table clash in round 24 of the NPLW between the Gap and Lions FC. A victory tonight for the Gap will just about ensure them that they will be this year's champions. Lions will be desperate for a win to keep the title chase alive. Talking to both coaches before the game, both had different ideas as to what was required left and had me doubting my calculations, having a look at the ladder a little earlier today. But we'll run through that as the game progresses. We've got a swathe of matches being played concurrently this evening. And if you are at one of those grounds, we would love to hear from you during the game. So if you could update us in the comments section, we'd love to know what the scores are in the other games around the grounds. As we have a confession to make, our internets just aren't working all that well today. So I can't even get a read on the scores at the other grounds in the men's competitions at the moment, which is normally a staple, something that we can rely on. That is not quite happening for us at the moment. So welcome wherever in the world you may be streaming this match from. Of course, welcome your comments. Let us know where you're watching the game from. We've got a regular viewer in Spain. I'm sure that we've got family of these players in North Queensland, out west, in and around Toowoomba and the Darling Downs. So certainly drop us a line, say hello, give us your comments on the match. This is, of course, top of the table, first versus second. Of course, covered the reverse fixture earlier this season, which was a 3-2 victory to Lions. So we've actually gone live a little bit early in this match. The referees aren't out on the field yet. So we'll hold off running through the team sheets until we actually get sight of the referees. The players will also be leaving the field and doing their regular walk-on. A massive win in the last match that we just saw to Peninsula Power. And the FQPL, of course, maintains their undefeated season. In the FQPL, just the one draw against, of course, Logan Lightning. So we've just had a couple of junior games happen on the fields on this field and the field behind us. Exciting game in the under-17s. The Gap came down from possibly 2 goals down to come back and score with a winner in the dying moments. Hopefully we get a game this exciting for the main game. And hopefully that big crowd that was here just 20 minutes ago will hang around and watch this match. Because if there are two teams in this competition that deserve to have a crowd in attendance, it is certainly Lions FC and the Gap Gators. I mentioned in last week's coverage that the Raw NTC were the hottest team in the competition. I actually checked the stats today and I was wrong by one game. The Gap have won 10 of their last matches. Raw NTC matched that last night with their victory over Moreton Bay. course, with a win tonight, we can just about get the lady singing and hand that trophy over to the Gap. So still no signs of the referee at this stage. So if you're planning on a big evening watching this match, go and get yourself comfortable, get your nibblies ready, get yourself a drink, get that mobile phone connected to the big screen TV. Prepare for a big night's football. Of course, the English Premier League started last night. So it's all back. It's a brilliant time of the year. And the Premier League starts and the local competitions reach the final stage. Of course, the FFA Cup gets into its exciting moments as well.
When you're ready, can you please go back into the tunnel, please? The referees are nearly ready. Thank you.
So we've just had ground announcer Sue Hilton request that the players retreat to the sidelines. So it looks like we're about to get a start in this match. Lovely cool evening here at Lions Stadium. A little bit windy up here. You've probably picked that up in the effects mic throughout this evening's match. But just the one jumper at this stage. Might go for the second in half an hour, I'd say. Lions players are off the field in position. Just waiting on the Gap players to assume the lineup. We'll run through this evening's teams. We were, of course, here last week for that dramatic match between Lions FC and Raw NTC. Looked a little bit subpar in that match. Looking for a little bit of improvement tonight. Lions will certainly need to up their game and do enough, whatever it takes to get the 3 points to keep this title chase alive. Still waiting for the referees to take their positions at the front of the queue. Made an appearance. Away. This is round 24 of Football Queensland's NPLW. We're at Lions Stadium for the clash between Lions FC and the Gap. This is a top-of-the-table game, first versus second. The Gap with a win tonight can secure first place and can just about write their name on the trophy as the 2018 NPLW champions. Let's quickly run through the team sheets. For Lions FC, number 3, Georgia Chapman. Number 4, Megan Stevens. Number 5, Kate Morton. Number 6, Rebecca Horsey. Number 7, Jamila Riley. Number 10, Tegan Riding. Number 14, Tanisha Stanley. Number 15, Lana Harch. Number 16, Giverny Kenman. Number 17, Jessica Hogg. And goalkeeper, number 20, Ellen Hepburn. On the subs bench, Caitlin Dale, Amy Gunston, Abigail Levitz, Elizabeth Schiavo, and Michaela DeSavia. For the Gap FC, in goals, number 1, Narana Buzza. Number 3, Talitha Doro. Number 4, Zali Eason Coots. Number 5, Charlotte Bowl. Number 7, Jessica Dillon. Number 10, Kim Abbott. Number 11, Tian Petterwood. Number 13, Greta Bodie. Number 15, Ruth Blackburn. Number 16, Elizabeth Doherty. Number 21, Tiffany Dibley. On the bench, Lauren Butler, Charlie McLennan, Sarah Miller, Lane Sunderland and Tierney Sunderland.
Number 4, Megan Stevens. Number 5, Kate Morton. Number 6, Rebecca Horsey.
Lions FC are proudly sponsored by Motorama and Luxury Paints. The Gap FC are proudly sponsored by Workpack Group and RHP Physiotherapy.
Number 16, Giovanni Cadman. Number 17, Jessica Hogg. And number 20,
Tonight's total tool referee is Alex Billiton.
number 1, Hayden
Just found out pre-game that Alex has come down from the Northern Territory to take tonight's match.
12, Elizabeth Schiavo.
Get a little bit of experience.
Michaela DeSavio.
Alex will be assisted by Christina Markovic and Taylor Schofield.
Coach Vince Travado and manager Miku Adachi. Team tonight for the Gap. Number 1, Norman Abaza. Number 3, Talika Doro. Number 4, Azali Eason Coops. Number 5, Charlotte Bowl. Number 7, Jessica Dillon. Number 10, Kim Abbott. Number
So we've got our first comment already this evening. Adolfo Fernandez Jr. is watching the game from California. Big fan of Rebecca Horsey.
15, Ruth Blackburn. Number 16, Elizabeth Doherty. And number 21,
been in good form of late.
Tiffany Dibley. Subs tonight for the Gap. Number 12, Lauren Butler. Number 14,
The Gap have been an amazing side, as per usual.
Sarah Miller.
They're always champions or vying for
And number 20,
championship places. Last year was probably the first season in a long time that they didn't win a trophy.
manager Carolyn Bucknell. Assistant coach Jason Powell.
But they're back where they like to be, top of the table.
Referee is Alex Wilson.
They've done it on the back of a brilliant defensive effort.
Christina Markovic.
They've only conceded 19 goals this season.
Lions always at home in the blue
Their defence has been outstanding. Of course, they've scored plenty of goals at the other end as well, but so it all starts from the back, and they've laid a brilliant platform. Lions FC, they were my favourites to take out the league this season. They've just lost a few players as the season's progressed. Rather than dipping in and perhaps recruiting players from other clubs, they've relied on their juniors. Whilst it's been great for them to get their promotion to the big time, there has been a noticeable drop in their quality, and the results have suffered as the season's progressed. Having said that, still a quality team. They'll provide excellent opposition this evening for the Gap. And we're underway in this round 24 NPLW clash. It's top of the table. Lions FC in the orange shirts and blue shorts. They're the home team, taking on the Gap Gators and their purple and yellow. Early chance here for Lions. Tegan Riding went for the speculator nice and early. Long range attempt. Unfortunately for her, the wind is blowing from right to left. Had that wind not been around, that shot might have had a good chance of going in, but the wind just picked it up and held it up and sent it over the top of the bar. Tell you what, the camera angle may not show this. There are just a few people on ground level watching this game tonight, but there are plenty upstairs. Lions FC Clubhouse is packed tonight. The Line is the most impressive facility in this part of the world. Plenty of pokey machines. Always events on. There's a big crowd in tonight. Early cross finds Petterwood. Forward line of the Gap's been extremely productive this season. Petterwood's been the star of the show, scoring the majority of the goals. Greta Bodie hasn't been too far behind. Of course, Ruth Blackburn, real star of the competition. Certainly chipped in with her fair share of goals. I'll run through those stats as the game progresses. Zali Eason-Coots coming forward. Zali was actually injured last time we streamed this match. Suffered a shoulder injury. She was out for a while. Early header! And the Gap have scored! Well, a big statement of intent from the Gap. And the Gap have laid down a marker. With the game just a couple of minutes old.
First goal of the match to the Gap FC, I think it was number 11, Tiani Petterwood.
Tian Petterwood with the goal. A simple header. Lions defence caught napping. It's the champions in waiting. They take the early lead in this match. Cross from Talitha Doro. Well, that's brought this game to life. Well, to be fair, it's been a reasonable start from both teams. Of course, Lions had that early speculator from Tegan Riding. Blackburn launching the ball forward. A little too deep for the Gap forwards. No problem for Ellen Hepburn. Fantastic settler there for the Gap. I recall the reverse fixture earlier this season. There was an early goal in that game too. That's just the start of many, so don't think that this game's done and dusted just because we've got an early goal. The two teams will certainly win at each other in the first encounter. The Gap, the Lions certainly have enough attacking weapons to come back. Touch a little bit too strong. Church and headgear tonight for Ellen Hepburn. With the breezy conditions, I suggest that's a good idea. Nice touch from Petterwood. This is Bodie. Bodie still with possession. We're eventually losing out. Nice touch from Stanley. Get the ball back to Riding though. Just clear. Good work again from Doro. Now the Gap have a corner. Of course, have 2 rounds left in the regular season. Another header, another goal! This time, pretty sure it was Ruth Blackburn that got her head to the ball. And just like that, the Gap have a 2-goal lead. What a start! Well, just a simple header. Ruth Blackburn in acres of
Second goal
space.
for the gap, number 15, Ruth Blackburn.
The Lions look a bit shell-shocked. Stevens to Hogg. Lions working out to the left-hand side. Riding can't take possession. I remember the original match between these two clubs. Some very strange goals scored in that game as well. The game showed plenty of intensity, but the goals that were scored all came out of nothing. Goals that were very simple and didn't perhaps reflect the quality of the two teams. That was just training goals. Training ground stuff from the gap. Leaving Ruth Blackburn unmarked in the box is a recipe for disaster, as she has shown on so many occasions. A wonderful heading technique. And there she goes with another through ball. Hepburn comes out to collect. Ran on. Lines are being torn apart here. Bodie. Dillon. For Liz Doherty. Liz Doherty was playing defensive midfield in the early part of the season before moving into the back line. Her and Kim Abbott formed a solid partnership. Of course, Katie Winter and Hayley Riccardi are injured. Well, Hayley Riccardi's injured. Stress fractures. Katie Winter's overseas. Blackburn. Another forward pass to find Petterwood. Dibley. Back to Doherty. It's the gap side that we're used to seeing. Gap style. Players very comfortable on the ball. Doro working out the left-hand side to find Bodie. Chance for Lions to clear. Not overly successful. Took two defenders to get the ball off to Letha Doro. Joe DeSavia be a little bit shocked with what he's seen so far. Rob Askew be pleased as punch. Just looking at both coaches, they're sitting on the bench with their arms folded. The team's just trading possession at the moment. This is Doro again. She's been busy early. There's a good sight seeing Letha Doro with the ball at her feet. Just manages to make a bit of space for herself. Blackburn taking the free kick early. Goes straight to Stevens. Another chance now for the gap. Doro's shot's blocked by Riley. Dibley. Rana Baza gets a rare touch in this game. Dillon and Blackburn sharing the ball at the moment. Easton Coots loses the ball and gives up a free kick in the process. Should give Lions a chance to settle down. This is top of the table clash. Gapper top at the moment, 20 wins, just the 2 losses. Those losses were against Lions FC. And Moreton Bay. Match against Moreton Bay. Round 10, I believe. Two loss that evening. Important interception by Dibley. Doro again. Just working the midfield so well. Ruth Blackburn takes a run forward. She's got Petterwood. Shot goes wide. Might have been blocked. Gap have another corner. Now I'd suggest that on this occasion, Lions get a player on Ruth Blackburn. The instructions to stick to her like super glue. Looks like Megan Stevens has got that job. As the corner comes in. Petterwood and another goal! Well, if it's not Ruth Blackburn, it's Tian Petterwood. 14 minutes in, the champions-elect go out to a 3-0 lead. Well, is this game over already? Gap just showing all their class in getting the ball into the front third. That's 2 simple goals from corners. Tian Petterwood didn't even need to put a head on the ball. Just so casually got a foot out. Tapped it past the hapless Hepburn. Gap have a 3-goal cushion. Petterwood adds to her ever-growing tally. Cementing second place in this Golden Boot. Take a miracle for her to catch Megan McGilligan. If you're wondering what Lions need to do to get back in this game, they just need to stop conceding corners. Again, the Gap is getting the ball through midfield very comfortably. Bodie's got Dibley on the outside, ignores her, goes back in field. Dillon loses out to Stanley. Riley, good pass to find Chapman. Morton loses possession though. The Gap will come again. Abbott. Blackburn. Gap will work the right-hand side now. Easton Coots. Thorough. Mason Coots again. Gets past a defender. Another cross, another header, another goal! Well, it's elegant in its simplicity. But honestly, Lions FC, when are you going to start defending? Such a good cross though. And the Gap are in absolute cruise control. A 4-goal lead. And we're not even 20 minutes down. This is a top of the table clash. And Tegan Riding's got her hands on her hips, as well she might. As the defensive effort from her team has left a lot to be desired in the first 20 minutes. Now the Lions' opportunity. Mars knocked over the line. It was always going to be a foul. Saddle Tools referee, Alex Billerton, as I mentioned in the introduction. He's come down from the Northern Territory. Get some experience in a different league. Getting plenty of practice at pointing at the center of the field, practicing her goals. What's it called? When you signal a goal signal. That's what we're looking for. So the ball goes over the top of Petterwood. And another chance for the Gap. Petterwood with time. Will she take on Riley? She takes on the long shot. Nice save from Hepburn. This Lions defence looks pretty undisciplined at the moment. The gap between the central defenders is very wide. Doro, she's been the star of this opening stanza for me. Offside flag goes up against Doro. Hepburn brings the ball back into play. And straight to Riding. A good delivery. Fortuitously goes to Hogg. Hogg's unable to maintain possession. Chapman. It's a deep cross. Abaza has a save to make. She does comfortably. So there was one match played in round 24 of the NPLW last night. And it was the race for fourth. As Moreton Bay took on the Roar NTC. We of course saw Roar NTC last week, comprehensively beating Lions 4-1 at this very ground. They went to Walter Park and practically did the same thing against Moreton Bay. It was a 3-1 victory. The Roar NTC were 3-0 up at half-time. Holly Schaefer scored for the home side from the penalty spot. And McGrath Still working ever so hard last week. Laney Fryer and Palmer with the goals for the Raw NTC. They could have had 2 4-1 victories in a row. Koko Majstorovic saved a penalty. Here's a chance for Lions. Weak attempt at goal. Just. So that was Lana Harch. Good opportunity. All she needed to do was put a foot through it. Just a little bit timid with her shot. The ex-Matilda was trying to show a little bit of control. At this stage, for psychological reasons more than anything else, just needed to put a foot through it. And here come the gap again through Greta Bodie. Greta Bodie, of course, Formula W League player with the Raw. Clear. Coming as far as Abbott. Blackburn. Peterwood. Just runs out of play. So if you've just tuned in, you're looking at the scoreboard, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is a top of the table clash, and the Gap have a 4-0 lead. A win tonight will just about secure them the premiership. Their goal difference is far superior to any other team. Lions needed a win to keep things tight. It was suggested to me before the game, something I hadn't quite considered, that the Souths could have still figured in the title challenge if Lions were to win this match. That is now looking extremely unlikely. It's going to take a monumental collapse from the Gap if that is to occur. This will, of course, also be a big psychological blow going into the finals. Chapman. Nice play by Stevens. Switch sides. Gap just hustling and harrying. Showing all the energy required to be the dominant force in this match. Lions look a little bit flat again. They did last week too, they just couldn't get their game going. Certainly looked an imitation of the side that we saw earlier in the year. They just reached that tipping point of losing too many of their quality players. But still, they should have enough quality out there to compete and compete well. Reflection from Harch. Free kick now to the Gap. Another set piece opportunity for the Gators. All 4 goals tonight have come from set pieces. Very surprised they didn't try and lump the ball into the box there and utilise their set piece skills. Doherty with the cross field ball. That shot from Bodie. I don't really need to finish that sentence, do I? So this match being played 6 o'clock on a Saturday night at Lions Stadium. For those of you that are watching it on delay, it is, of course, the peak time for fixtures. Certainly in the NPLW. We have 1, 2, 3 other matches being played at this time. If you are at one of those other games and tuning in just to keep an eye on what's happening here, please let us know in the comments. Let us know the scores. I'd love to update you. We'd just love to get updates on what's happening at the other grounds. Having a few internet issues this evening. So the app that I use to keep up to date with what's happening at other grounds won't play ball tonight. Have another go at it at half time, but I'm struggling with that at the moment. If you are just tuning in, of course, in the FQPL this afternoon, it was a 2-0 win for Peninsula Power over Logan Lightning. Win by Power. It's that second promotion spot. Logan is still in the box seat to be the second team to get promoted. Does make things a little bit tighter. Another win there by the Gap. And another corner. Oh, what tricks of the Gap going to pull out this time? Now, to be fair, their goals have been relatively simple. Just lump the ball into the box. Get a foot or a head. And score an uncontested goal. Let's have a look at how the Lions players are lining up. There's no one at the near post. Well, we've got players on both posts. You'd expect a player to be just about standing on that spot where it was headed away. So there might be some structural issues with how Lions are preparing themselves for these corners. We'd like to see a player on the tip of the 6-yard box. Which is, of course, where that ball was cleared from. It's certainly the Lions coach Joe DeSavia will need to address at half-time. Chapman goes back to Riley. Finding Stanley. Stanley's got Stevens. Goes back to Hepburn. And Stevens, one of those young players that's been promoted from the 17s to the senior side. Managed to hold down a place, a regular spot. Blackburn running onto the ball at pace. There's 2-on-2 in the middle. Ball just eludes Petterwood. Arch clears. Stanley can't pick up the scraps. Dibley goes for a run. Stanley gets the win. Lions clearing the ball forward. Ball out by Harch for Tegan Riding. Still there for Lions. Arch gets another cross in. Still there for Lions, but the offside flag goes up. And to the disappointment of the crowd, that goal will not count. Players just asking who was offside. Suggest that Rebecca Horsey was the infringer on that occasion. Buzzer brings the ball back into play. Football Queensland normally bring you 3 matches every weekend. This weekend is no exception. This is the second of our Super Saturday matches. Our third match is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Brisbane City taking on North Queensland United at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. It's formerly known as Spencer Park. Simon Smale will be your host for that game. The Lions have a free kick. Goes deep, looking for riding. Gap just seem to have an answer for every question that Lions are posing for them at the moment. Again, I was just about to compliment Lions on the good passing pattern. Dramatic. Had to play well. Able to break up the play. See if Lions get some sort of momentum to go into the second half. I suggest that the game is beyond them already. However, strange things have happened on this ground. Because it was a 3-2 scoreline last time these two teams played, so actually both teams had a lead in that game. Truly be a speculative better. So put money on Lions to come back and take out this match. Again, swarming defence from the gap. Do concede a corner. Just by way of comparison, let's take a look at how the gap position their players for this corner compared to how Lions did a few moments ago. Players on both posts. It's not committing too many numbers forward. 3 players back to Mark Petterwood. Strong header from Horsey goes straight to a buzzer. Finds Dylan. Bodie. Like what she saw in front of her, so goes back. Abbott goes down the line, looking for Dibley. Stevens saw fit to cut that play out. Stevens again. And again. Riding will get possession, gets a good cross in. Fortunately for Lions, did run out of play. Played down here for the gap. It's Britta Bodie. Training gets called for. Clutching at a right ankle. Last time these two teams played, the Gap suffered two really big injuries. I don't think we've seen Hayley Riccardi on the field since that game. Stress fracture. Goes off to the sideline. Get some treatment. Total Tools referee, Alex Bulletin, getting involved, just checking on players' welfare. He's had good control over the game so far. Bodie's back on her feet. Walking. Suspect she'll be right to continue. However, given the scoreline, and given what's at stake in the remaining matches, if I was Coach Rob Askew, I'd be sending Sarah Miller on the field in her place. No, Bodie's back on the field. Stevens finds Hogg. Chapman goes down. Chapman stays down, but the play continues. The Gap Sportingly kick the ball out of play. So that Georgia Chapman can get some attention. So just run through some of the other games that are being played at the moment. A little earlier today, South West Queensland Thunder took on Madra Bar. That match was at 3 o'clock up at Clive Berghofer Stadium. So that one will be completed. I'll do a search and see if I can find you a scoreline during the halftime break. But at the moment, we've got Sunshine Coast Wanderers playing Logan Lightning, Eastern Suburbs playing Western Pride, and Mitchelton are playing Souths. Tomorrow, Gold Coast United take on Capalaba. Gold Coast sprung a major upset last weekend by beating South United. Of course, that win has really made it difficult for South to win the league now. South, it was a three-way battle last weekend. Lost by South United. Just seen a yellow card go to Ruth Blackburn. A couple of minutes to go in this first half. It's round 24 match, top of the table between Lions FC and the Gap. It's currently 4-0 to the Gap. Lions now have a set piece. Jelana Harch will wrap her foot around this. Wind might be a real issue for her. far as getting the ball down. Tegan Riding with the long range attempt. Sartre ran over the ball. And that wind just picked up the ball and just sent it sky high. Here's the way to attack it though, with the drive. Riley's touch was weak. Here's a chance now for Bodie. Greta Bodie! Just scuffed a shot and put it wide. Well, I wonder if that ankle injury that she suffered recently played a part in that missed attempt. Because ordinarily, you'd expect her to slam that ball in the back of the net. It's a weak shot. Burn goes short. The Gap have a chance just before half time. To get deep into the Lions half again. And they still do so. Solid defensive work from Lions. Here's Riding. She's got 2 to beat. Tegan Riding. Deflected shot. Still there for Stanley. Again, great defensive work. This time Tiffany Dibley sees off the challenge. Stevens trying to be cute, trying to get the ball low into the box. Find a teammate. Lions will go again. Riley's got a bit of space. Expected to bring the ball forward. It's a deep ball just over the head of Lana Harch. Dillon. Blackburn. Ball over the top. Teammates weren't alert. If I was Rob Askew, I would be subbing Greta Bodie at half time. Very proppy. Petterwood just gets the ball in behind the defence. Defender just getting a foot in the way. It was enough for Hepburn. Riley with the clearance. Horsey goes out to the left. Hogg. Almost at half time. Gap have put on a clinic in the early stages of this match. Any set piece that they had, the ball ended up in the back of the net. Lions have improved as the game's gone on. They can take some comfort from that. And there it is. It's half-time at Lions Stadium. This top-of-the-table clash between Lions FC and the Gap. And it's the Gap who've got one hand on the 2018 NPLW Championship Trophy. They go into the break with a 4-0 lead.
And also a goal for
goals for Tian Petterwood and Ruth Blackburn.
15, Ruth Blackburn.
We'll be back shortly with the second half. Don't go away. This is Football Queensland's coverage of the NPLW.
NPL side, Lions 2, Cairns 0, both goals scored by Jason McCarthy.
is my favorite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Caltex Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kickoff program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others. My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
wow, it's Archie Thompson, he's a legend. And Steph Natlick from the Westfield Matildas, she is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
I could watch them all day, even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Football is my favorite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Caltex Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kickoff program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others.
My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
wow, it's Archie Thompson, he's a legend. And Steph Natlick from the Westfield Matildas, she is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
I could watch them all day, even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, It's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Welcome back to Lions Stadium for this round 24 NPLW clash between Lions FC and the Gap Gators. And yes, this is first versus second, and yes, the scoreline is 4-0 to the Gap. I mentioned just before the halftime break that they've got one hand on the trophy. I received a message from a Gap supporter saying that they've practically got two hands on the trophy, and pretty hard to disagree with that comment. We do have to remain diplomatic though. And it's not done till it's officially done. But yes, the Gap scored some very simple goals in the first half, all from set pieces. Bomb and free kick, the other three were corners. Loose players in the 6-yard box, getting a foot or a head on the ball. Just showing it to the back of the net. Marking from Lions in those scenarios left a lot to be desired. However, last 20 minutes or so, Lions did get themselves back into the contest. Certainly not the scoreline. They showed signs of the quality team that's got them to the second place in the league this season. Have everyone on the field except the referee at the moment. The assistants are out on the field. There she is. All right, just quickly, before the second half gets underway, we'll just run through some of the fixtures, and thank you to everyone out there who has been kind enough to send through some messages. So this afternoon, South West Queensland Thunder got a rare victory over Mudgeeraba, 3-2 the scoreline in that game. And in the match between Mitchelton and South, of course, South with a remote chance of being this year's champions. However, they're frittering that opportunity. They are 2-1 down at half-time against Mitchelton. And unfortunately, couldn't find any social media posts for the match between Sunshine Coast Wanderers and Logan, nor Easts and Western Pride. So if you are out there, if you are at one of those games, please, in the comments section of our coverage, please let us know what the scores are. Early chance for the Gap. Hepburn comes out well. Showed good technique to just smother the ball. And any chance of Gap extending their lead. The Gap were excellent early in this game. That completely dominated the midfield. Just cut through lines like a knife through butter. If there's any form of encouragement that we can give to Lions, they are playing with the wind in this second half. Goes out on the left-hand side to find Harch. Harch took on the shot herself. She did have Stanley at the far post. There we go. I've just found out. Thank you, Adam Sherman, assistant coach at Moreton Bay United. That Easts are 2-0 up after 60 minutes. Thank you very much for sending that through. Jason Powell also provided some good assistance. So Jason, tell me about Kim Abbott, who's just a central defender. That's her on the ball now. Kim Abbott. I had mentioned this in previous games, but Kim Abbott came to Australia from the United States. Just went to trial at her local club, and lo and behold, she rocks up at the Champions for a trial. It's a regular fixture in the team. Here's a chance for Petterwood. Good save from Hepburn. Petterwood a little bit too direct with the shot. Again, a sign that Gap aren't going to let up. Scored 128 goals coming into this game. You now make it 132. So they're averaging just under 6 goals a game. They've gone into double figures on 4 occasions. Something that the Lions have failed to do. The Gap have a corner. Let's see if the Lions can show a little bit more discipline. I say I like how they've structured themselves already. Deep corner comes in. It was out of the field of play before it came back into the field of play, which of course results in a goal kick to the defending team. So just running through some of the other scores that I was able to find in the halftime break. So in the NPL, Moreton Bay United 1, Brisbane Roar 3. The makings of an upset there. Strikers and Olympic 0-0. I think that was half-time score. Lions are of course trying to be champions in the NPL men. They have a 2-0 lead over Cairns. Early days in the Redlands Magpies match. Redlands of course need a win if they're to avoid relegation. 6 minutes in, 0-0. We of course saw in our first stream match this afternoon in the FQPL, Provincial Power continued on their winning way with the 2-0 victory over Logan Lightning. Half time, Capalaba and the Sunshine Coast Wanderers 0-0. Of course, Sunshine Coast, one of the teams battling for that second promotion spot in the FQPL. And Rochdale have a 2-0 lead over the Holland Park Hawks. Dylan goes back to Doherty. Cut out by Horsey. Gets forward. Gap perhaps had an opportunity to go quickly there, but the forwards weren't up for a run, getting in behind the Lions defence. Riding. Chapman. Stevens. Harch. Hogg. Goes harmlessly. Out for a goal kick. So when this match started, there was just a slight breeze coming across. It is well and truly picked up now. I mentioned that shortly we'd be going for the 2 jumpers. We certainly have the 2 jumpers in action now. And the gloves. May even go for the beanie shortly too. With the wind up, it must be Eka time. For those of you who are watching from out of the southeast Queensland area, we do put on a show every year where the people from the country bring their wares to the city. And a lot of cattle shows and lots of produce on display. And it happens at this time every year, and every time this time of the year the wind gets up. It's a cold wind. Of course, with all the Brisbane population congregating Here's Ruth Blackburn. Dinks the ball through for Petterwood. Cut out well by Riley. Kenman. Good headed clearance. Doro. Shot high and wide. The goal kick taken short. Middle Riley's pass got blocked. Put forward for Riding to run onto. She leaves it for a teammate. Riding, unfortunately, ran offside. The play breaks down. So the Gap have 3 matches left to play after tonight's match. They've got a catch-up game against the Raw NTC, which is certainly no gimme given the form that the Raw NTC are in at the moment. That's going to be played on the 21st of August, which is a Tuesday night. Of course, with the Raw NTC winning their game against Moreton Bay last night, that puts them right in contention for that 4th spot. And if Souths are unable to maintain their good form, as I mentioned, though, they're down 2-1 at half-time in their match against Mitchelton. If they keep dropping points, Roaring TC could actually get in third, and there's a chance. Chapman, I believe, was the player with the shot. And a buzzer with her first real save to make in this game. Everything else has just been tidying up work. It was probably Kate Morton. Corner taken quickly and short. Cross in, there's no orange shirt in the way. Another shot from Morton, goes well over the bar. This wind's really starting to pick up now. Thankfully the scaffold that we're on is one of the best that we have to work with. Some other grounds where I'm quite concerned about health and safety. Thankfully this one's rock solid. I'd suggest that Ellen Hepburn starts going long with her goal kicks. Opportunity now for the Gap. That ball to Petterwood a little bit aimless. Easily tidied up by the Lions defence. Riley just safely sees the ball out of play. Bodie is continuing, despite that ankle knock that she received in the first half. So she's right to continue. Just a little bit of half-time treatment. Done her the world of good. Just looking at the squad lists from both of these teams. Lions have put 28 names on their team sheet this season. Gap have used just 20. There's a chance now with Blackburn. Infield for Petterwood, and the ball is in the back of the net. The Gap have their 5th. Again, just simple play down the right-hand side. Cross ball comes in. I thought Petterwood muffed the opportunity. I think it's Greta Bodie at the far post. Gets her name on the score sheet. The Lions have their 5th. We're just 58 minutes into this game. Well, it's obvious that this match is gone for Lions. What psychological impact will this have on their team? When you take into consideration Lions. Does the Gap make a substitution? Zali Eason-Coots was the player coming off. Charlie McLennan is the player coming on.
For the Gap, number 14, Charlie McLennan replaces
Tegan Riding trying to score from the kickoff. Taking on the defence all by herself. Petterwood. There she is again. The confidence from Tian Petterwood that we're seeing this season. She left Logan Lightning to improve her game. With a heavy heart, she left Logan Lightning as well. She played so much of her career at Cornubia. She left to improve herself. I would say that she's made the right decision because her game has definitely gone to another level. She just looks so calm and composed on the ball, and of course she's scoring plenty of goals. Second on the goal scoring charts. Here she is on the ball now. Still there for her. And some good defensive work, sees the ball out of play. Aussie's given up a corner. Super Saturday football at Lions Stadium. As the corner comes in. Two Gap players got themselves in the way. Hepburn, who's recently been on trial with the Raw. Makes the save. I was a bit disappointed with the distribution last week in that match. Seems to be doing much better with that tonight. Hepburn, of course, played for Gold Coast City last year. Jamila Riley have made the move to Richlands. Here's Petterwood, rounding the defence, getting off a shot that's blocked. Morton with the block. Chapman with the block. Another headed goal. It's just too simple for the Gap at the moment. Far too simple. Such an easy goal. Tian Petterwood gets her 4th goal. And the Gap are putting an exclamation mark on this game. That's 6-0. 6 of the best. This is first against second. And all the goodwill amongst themselves that Lions have generated in the past 20 minutes before half time. Sarah Miller's made her way on the field. Greta Bodie's the player that's come off. Shot from Riding goes wide. So I suggested that Greta Bodie should be coming off. This match virtually won. It seems that 6 goals. When you're 4-0 up, it's not still in doubt, but 6 goals is enough to enforce a substitution. Good to see Sarah Miller on the field, getting herself a bit of game time. Bodie getting her name on the score sheet. It's her 31st goal of the season. Tian Petterwood with her 4th. Gets herself to 42. As Lions make a substitution.
Substitution for Lions, number 19, Michaela DeSavia, replaces number 16.
Mickey DeSavia gets herself on the field. The Lions get on the ball. They have a free kick. Giovanni Kenman was the player that was substituted. So an attacker or a midfielder, attacking midfielder for a defender. Looks like a bit of a reshuffle there. Ball a little bit too deep. Buzzer is unable to pick up. She had to clear. The Lions have a free kick. Stanley over the ball, unsure how she's going to deliver this. Bringing it straight to Dylan. And here come the gap with Doro. Miller. Little nutmeg through Riley. Puts the ball out for Petterwood. This is a great move by the gap, and they deserve that goal. Some fantastic passing there by the Gap Gators. They're putting on a clinic. Brilliant pass there for Sarah Miller. And an equally brilliant pass in behind the Lions defence for Tian Petterwood. And she's got another one. 5 goals in the game. And there's still 24 minutes to go. This is like round 1. Of course, in round 1, the Gap notched up a 17-0 victory over Mudgeeraba. Tiffany Dibley's being substituted. Looks like Lauren Butler's made the field.
Goal scorer for the Gap was number 17, Sarah Miller.
Doro. I have mentioned this already, but I'm just so impressed with Talitha Doro and just love seeing her on the ball. She just seems to have it on the string. She's certainly run the show in the midfield tonight. You'd have to say that Tian Petterwood with 5 goals will probably get the player of the match. Deservedly so, but Talitha Doro's certainly been outstanding. There's a shot from Riding. Good save from a buzzer. Still there for Lions. Hutch! Not quite the power. Another save from a buzzer. So difficult for a goalkeeper when you've got little to do. You just spring into action when required. Good save there from a buzzer. Hogg. Stevens. Savia. Savia again. Chapman. Riley coming forward, as she is wont to do. It's a little nutmeg there for Butler. It was mentioned to me post-match last week that a lot of the players probably aren't familiar with the heights that Lana Hutch has reached in this game. Of course, we covered the Raw NTC match with players that were 14, 15, 16. You didn't notice it on the field so much. You could tell that they were young players, but it wasn't until the post-match, sitting in the club room, you could see just how young these players were. Raw NTC, it's just been a breath of fresh air for this competition. They've confirmed that they will be taking part in finals, should they qualify. Apparently there was some doubt as to whether they would. As this long range attempt comes in, just wide. Good shot from Horsey. Swans have had 14 goal scorers this season. Doro. Goes all the way through to Hepburn. If any of you out there have some score updates, we would love to hear them. As mentioned earlier on, we have a few issues with the internet connection here. Or at least the site that we get our scores from other games from. So if you've got some to send through, please send me a message or put them in the comments section of this game. Oh, mistake there from a buzzer. A gift. Absolute gift to DeSavia. She just gives the ball straight back to Narana Buzzer. We mentioned how difficult it is to concentrate when you're not having much to do. And Butler loses out to Stanley. Asia Stanley, of course, a former Raw NTC player. The Lions have 2 matches left. They play Western Pride next week and then finish their campaign here against Souths. We did think that that match against Souths could be a title decider at one stage. The Gap's ultra consistency has put paid to that. That game could be potentially a match that Souths need to win if they're to maintain 3rd place. Of course, we've got a couple of weeks to go before we know the full permutations, as that shot from Doro goes wide. Gap, of course, had a 5-0 win over Easts last week. So Mitchelton is still leading 2-1 against Souths. Roar and TC still have 5 matches still to play. Elizabeth Schiavo gets her place on the field. Taking over from Megan Stevens. Savia. Chapman. Hogg out to Harch. He's taken up position on the left-hand side. Morton. Muscled off the ball. And a little bit of afters between those two players. It's the Gap that have a free kick. Miller. There's a free kick. One's going to have to be careful here as they let their frustrations get the better of them. That decision gets reversed. Perhaps a little bit of chat back to referee Alex Billiton. Free kick in, finds Riding. Riding goes down. Riding again, losing out to Doro. Doherty with the clearance. Shindy now for the Gap if Doro can get on the ball, which he can. Finds Miller. Miller just has Petterwood in the box. Cut out well by Horsey. Riley will clear, but it goes straight back to a purple shirt. Dillon. Blackburn. Shots blocked. Schiavo. Plays cut out by Blackburn. Clearance by Chapman. So just looking at this top 4 race. I already mentioned that Lions play Western Pride and then Souths. Souths lost to the Gold Coast last week, which put them out of title contention. They're currently down against Mitchelton. They've got Easts and Lions to go. Horsey working extremely hard. Nice touch from Miller. Good cross comes in. Petterwood! Header just wide. Well, that's been the difference between these two teams tonight. The ability of the Gap players in the air. Particularly up front. Just showing better heading technique. Not something that we see a lot of in women's football. A lot of teams like to play the ball on the deck. Get the ball in behind. But Just good heading ability from the gap. It's done them the world of good. Certainly if I was coach of a women's team, it's something that I would prioritise is the ability to head the ball. There's a lot of these players very comfortable with the ball at their feet, but in the air, as I mentioned this, there was a story that came out during the week about the effects of heading the ball and whether it should be banned in junior football. But if it's a technique that you can perfect, or at least do it at a reasonable level, it can be such an advantage. So few teams just do the old cross into the box. The gap have shown tonight what a weapon it can be. Lions struggling to get some momentum here. Now Miller. Got two players in field. Play cut out well by Horsey. Had a good last 10 minutes there, Rebecca Horsey. The defensive as a unit left a little bit to be desired. Horsey, the team captain, has upped her rating in this second half. 10 minutes to go. Can the gap add to their tally? Pass by Petterwood, a little bit too deep. Stanley facing the wrong way. Arch. Hogg goes crossfield. Schiavo looking for riding. Can only find Doherty. The gap just settling play down, maintaining possession. That's what they need to do at this stage. If they've got any more goals left in them. Riding, taking on three defenders. Gets past one, can't get past Blackburn. Doherty looking for options. Finds Miller. So I mentioned that Souths have Easts and Lions to go in their campaign. Moreton Bay United have played the Gap next week. It's going to be a massive gap for Moreton, massive game for Moreton Bay. If they're to get back in this top four race with the Raw NTC on fire at the moment and so many catch-up games to play, it's advantage them. Moreton Bay play the Gap next week. Moreton Bay, of course, the last team to beat the Gap. The Jets will certainly want to get another 3 points if they can keep their top four hopes alive. Moreton Bay finished their campaign against the Pride. on showing tonight, just how much they miss creativity of players such as Mario Leclerc. Done an ACL injury. Last week I saw her training and thought that she was going to start. If you've got an ACL injury, you can go forwards, sideways movement, you risk doing serious damage. McLennan. Properly cleared. Shots blocked. Arch looking for runners. Lions players aren't too willing to get forward. So they're a little bit cooked mentally at the moment. Petterwood, Dillon, Doherty coming forward. She hasn't scored yet this season. Chance now for Miller. And Sarah Miller gets her name on the score sheet. I believe that's her 9th goal of the season. And tonight it's just been all too easy for the Gap as they go on a march to what could very well be another trophy to add to their bulging cabinet at Walton Bridge Reserve.
That's the Gap, I think, scored by number 17 against Sarah Miller.
So the Gap showing all their class tonight, all their quality. They've just been far too good from the get-go. Tegan Riding had an early speculative shot. And from that moment on, the Gap just took over this game.
NPL boys in Canberra.
Scored early, and scored often. Just a reminder, this is first against second, and the scoreline is 8-0. Of course, I'll be interviewing both coaches after the game. You'll be able to see that on the Funny Old Game Facebook page. Perhaps we'll do an interview for the Football Queensland page as well. So if you're on Instagram or Football Queensland YouTube channel, you should be able to see what the coaches have to say. Just trying to think what questions I'd be asking Joe DeSavia. Where did it all go wrong? And he'd probably say the second minute. That was, of course, when Gap scored their first goal. They had some real defensive issues tonight. In the set pieces, they just didn't mark up properly. Didn't challenge for some balls that they probably should have got their body to and their heads on. It was just all too simple for the Gap. What a reverse this has been from the first time that these two teams played. Of course, the Lions won that game 3-2. Lions were flying at that stage of the season. The Wheels have certainly come off the bandwagon. Lions will have to pick themselves up from this game. Of course, the last thing they want to do is finish 4th. They have to play the Gap in the semi-final. So any team would want to avoid the Gap in the semis. The time that you'd want to play them is the grand final. This is the second match for Football Queensland of Stream this weekend. Of course, a little earlier today. And at Cornubia Park, we saw Peninsula Power taking on Logan Lightning and coming home with a 2-0 victory. Our Sunday session is 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Brisbane City taking on North Queensland United. So clear your schedule for that game. I don't think we have scheduled our match for next weekend. I'd love to tell you where I'm going to be, but that hasn't been decided yet. Sort of waiting to see how this title race pans out. I would suggest that the Gap against Moreton Bay would be a good fixture. So confirmation that Mitchelton beat South United 2-1. There is a chance that South United could finish out of the top 4 entirely if they continue this run that they're going through at the moment. There's a chance now for Riding, saved from by a buzzer. Just a minute to go in regular time. Can Lions salvage something from this game? It's Harch. She's onside for the cross in, straight to a buzzer. Well, it's just been one of those nights for Lions. Nothing's gone right for them. They've been outclassed and outplayed by a quality unit. Everything seems to have fallen into place nicely for the Gap. Results have gone their way from other matches. Of course, they've only lost 2 games this season. Won everything else convincingly. If there's any team to beat them at the moment, I would suggest that the only team capable is the Raw NTC. And there it is, it's full time. Well, that's as comprehensive a victory for first against second as you can get. The Gap Gators, the game promised heaps. It certainly delivered goals, but for only one team as the Gap come away with an 8-0 victory. 5 goals to Tian Petterwood. Greta Bodie scoring, Ruth Blackburn and Sarah Miller getting her name on the team sheet. For Lions, well, it's desperation stakes now. They've got to try and find some form coming into the finals. I'm Darren Lutton on behalf of Lewis Campbell from Double Take, David Reid from Football Queensland. Don't forget, tomorrow afternoon, the Sunday session at 4 o'clock, Brisbane City against North Queensland United in the NPL. I'm Darren Lutton. Have a great evening. Until we meet next week, enjoy your football.